Hi everyone, it's Kayvon with Ascari Art. So today we're going to do something really cool where we're going to work with black substrate. So I've got two cards here. They look like black vinyl. They're from Nara. They're black circular cards. And the reason why I'm going to use two is because I noticed that there's two different sides of texture. One side is really smooth and the other side is texture. So I'm going to have one side with the smooth surface up and the other side with the texture side up, so that when we're doing the alcohol ink, we can kind of see the differences and how it reacts. The other thing we're going to do is we're using obviously on black, since a lot of the inks that we use don't have a base. They're dye based, so there's no base of white or black. Typical paint, like oil-based paint, acrylic-based paint, there's a main base to it that gives it that vibrancy off of whatever texture you use, whatever color you use as the backdrop. But those involve pigments. Alcohol inks aren't using pigments, they're using dyes like a printer. And you've noticed if you try to print with an inkjet printer on a black surface, it's not going to show up as well. So it's the same kind of principle. So with the alcohol inks, they do have a white. Pinata has a white. Tim Holtz has a white. However, those whites don't really act like a typical alcohol ink. I don't really think they're wholeheartedly full alcohol ink. So when you add alcohol to a white by Pinata, which is this one right here, it starts breaking it up. It starts looking like it starts like making little dust particles, like it looks like little particles, like it breaks it up. So what they recommend is to use a blending solution. So we're gonna experiment. So let's do it.
Hey everyone, so we're gonna get started. On this side here, on my right side, this is the smooth surface one. On the left side, it's the textured side, okay? The colors we're gonna use and the materials we're gonna use, I've got blending solution here. I'm using Pinata Gold or Pinata Brass. This is the best gold I could find. Pinata White, Blanco Blanco. I'm also using Gumball by Tim Holtz and possibly a Copic Antwerp Blue. And that's it. So the Blanco Blanco, I've got a smaller version of it here. We're going to be using this. And we're going to use alcohol as well. So the idea is for us to kind of just play with these two surfaces, see how it interacts. I've never played on this type of material. This is by Nara, so let's get started. Alright, and I do want to use a brush, so I am going to use a brush with a cup with some alcohol in it. There we go. Alright, so let's get started. So what I'm going to do first is let's open up this blending solution. Do that here, and let's play with a white. So let's see what we can come up with this white. And what I recommend is always shake this stuff up. So you want to make sure you shake it so there's nothing on the bottom, you know, get everything mixed in together pretty well. So on this one, let's just do something like that. On this one, we'll just do something like this. And we're going to add some blending solution. Now, since this is like a plastic, I would not advise using heat on your blow dryer. I would recommend using a cold setting on a blow dryer or using this Giotto lens cleaner. The blending solution allows it to move really nicely, and since this is a plastic material, it's not going to let me, it's not going to really, dry up really weird. But since it's plastic, I don't recommend using heat. So you want to make sure you don't use any heat because it'll start curling up. So this is obviously the first coat, and we want to make sure we just kind of control it. We can wipe some areas down. Now, I don't have any moisture in the air today, and this could be the way that this Blanco moves. Okay, so let's add some color. So we're going to add my gum ball. I'm going to add it to the side here. And on this one, we're just going to add it through the middle. And while that's happening, we're going to add the white back in here. And we're going to add some white in here. Because you got to keep layering this stuff. It's not going to just... You see how the color shows up better when you have the white in it? Because the white becomes the base for the alcohol ink. I'm going to add some more blending solution. So the problem with this method of painting on a dark surface is that you're going to have to use quite a bit of blending solution. Now you can make your own blending solution. It's I think, let's see, blending solution typically has a mix of ethanol and ethers, and then it also has a very pure isopropyl alcohol. So you could probably mix in 99% alcohol, one part of that, one part of ethanol, and if you have any glycerin, you can add a little bit of that. But for now, you got to play with that formula to figure out what the best formula is for you. I don't typically use blending solution because I typically work on canvas. So when I work on canvas, you know, it's just a different material, and I can just use alcohol. I don't have to mix blending solution. So we're adding some of that Antwerp blue in there. I'm going to show you what happens when you start adding alcohol. Right now we're just doing the blending solution. And let's add some more white. Add some white in here. And right now I'm just showing you, I'm thinking of composition as I speak. But I want to really show you what this stuff can do. I don't like some of these edges, so I'm just trying to move them and making sure that they're not jagged like that. Now the advantage to using smaller cards, because as you know based on my videos, I don't work in small, I work big in most cases. So for me to have a small piece like this, it's actually easier because I can literally move it and turn it and lift it and angle it. It's a lot harder when you have a 5 foot by 4 foot canvas and you're using alcohol. So now I'm going to start adding this pure 99% alcohol. I'm going to show you what it does. Let's do it on the first one here. You see what it's doing? It's like it's almost breaking up where the blending solution was. Add some here. See what it's doing here? I don't know if you can see that, but it's adding like these cool waves, these cool like line waves. Let's add it here now. Watch. Everywhere I push it, it adds just like this wave effect where the white is. Let's add some here. Cut right through the middle. Using blending solution that you buy, if you're working on a bigger piece, that could start getting really expensive because it requires a lot of blending solution to move the ink. The amount of layers and stuff that I do, it would be very costly for me. The gumball is really popping on this the white base of Blanco. Pinata white base, the white color. And we knew that would happen because that's just typically how most other kinds of paint work. You have either a white base or you have a black, or it's typically white, and then they mix, you know, like at a hardware store when you buy paint, the base is always white. Now there's different shades of white, but that's what makes the paint pop. So, oh, I love this. Okay, so let's add some alcohol here, and we're going to use a brush. I'm going to use a finer brush than with a square tip. I typically like round tips, but we're going to use this flat square. Douse it a little bit. You can also add some alcohol blending solution into your alcohol mix solution here, so it doesn't affect the white too much. So let's see. So based on this, I like this one here. So we're just now, I hope you can see this. I'll try to zoom in for you. It's much harder to make it do what you want with this to the surface because unless you use pure blending solution, which I really don't want to, because it's very wasteful. I'm going to soften this up a little with the brush. As you can see, I'm just kind of doing this. I mean, some artists will just pour it and leave it like the way it is, and leave it to chance. I do like to manipulate it quite a bit. I mean, if you watch any of my other videos, you can see how I manipulate the ink and move it around with the brush. Because I feel like that's just how I work. Alright, so let's see what we can do here in this area here. I'm trying to stay away from the camera so you can kind of see what I'm doing. See, the white stops moving. Once it's dry, it's very hard to lift. The white from the pinata white. Unless you just wipe it away. You can't, like, it's really difficult to manipulate it and let it, like, move around naturally. So right now I'm just looking at what can I do to make this just a little bit more intriguing. It's like a little storm. You know, we like some of these lines. Soften these up. Soften this up. Now we're going to add a couple drops of blending solution here and see what happens on the edge. Because I typically do this with alcohol. I'll add the alcohol on the edge and then feed it through. And it's actually lifting the white, and it is allowing you to manipulate it. It's just, you know, blending solution can get pretty expensive with the amount that you got to use on this, especially if you're layering a lot, like I mentioned earlier, like I do. So, kind of liking this one. This is the textured side. Let me show you what I've done here. Let's see if I can unfocus it. So, I haven't added the gold yet, but you can kind of see. Now it's time to mess with this one. So we're going to do the same thing with the brush. Actually, first we're going to add a line of blending solution and start pushing some of this ink in. Let me move this out of the way. And come in with a brush. The blending solution, I think from the ethanol or the glycerin that's in it, causes it to be a little, it feels a little oilier. That's the best way I could describe it. It just feels oilier. Okay, so we're going to come in and now clean up this edge. See, I'm forced to use this because the alcohol will break it up. Let me show you what I mean. So, since this is a smooth surface, let's see what happens. It won't break up the regular ink, it'll break up the white. See how it's causing these, like, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's causing like these little dust effects with anywhere that we have white. It's breaking up the pigment in the white. You almost want to wipe it away. We can do that. I haven't been doing videos because I got COVID, so I've been out of it for about 15 days, and I just tested. I've been testing to make sure that I'm negative. Still fighting that, so I've been quarantined. Now I'm feeling better. I can actually lift my head and paint. See how it's lifting the white, but it's not lifting it the way I like. So it's causing some interesting texture issues here, but let's see if I can, it's lifting the whole thing. And I don't know if that's the Nara or if it's the, well, it's the Nara because it's plastic, so it's allowing me to lift it. It's not really staining it, but the way that it's lifting because of the white, I'm just not liking the powder feel that the white is doing. So yeah, it's just my take on it. So then on this side, I put the brush down. This side, I do like some of the stuff, but let's see if I can manipulate the white without destroying it, like on the other side. So we're going to make this side a little softer. Solution there to be able to push this ink, this white ink into it. Unfortunately, lifting. Just moving it around. Alright. While the blending solution's wet, I'm gonna dab a little alcohol here. Just adding a little bit of this purple. See, I'm just gonna play with it. I haven't added gold yet, so let's add the gold now. Mix this up. Let's add gold to this one. To this one here. And we're gonna have a dropper. Not too much, but just enough to make it pop a little. So, and we're gonna add blending solution to it because we don't want to affect the other colors that are, we don't want to break that up too much. So let's try that. Push this. The blending solution should help it lift. I really like those little alcohol here. Now we're going to use the brush. Just control where these lines of gold connect. You just want fine details of gold. I don't want to go crazy with the gold. I just want it to be concentrated here and kind of just break up. So I can show you. I'll show you a little close-up of this so you can kind of see what I'm doing. There we go. And on this one, we're going to use chrome. So I've got this liquid chrome by Molotov. It's really nice. So I'm going to mix it up. And again, we're not going to do too much. This one has a dropper to it. So we're going to put just a few drops. And then mix the blending solution in it. Start moving it around. Chrome is really cool. I'm going to push it back in a little. Add a little bit more blending solution. Sometimes a couple drops will go a long way, like you can see here. Got a problem here with this. Have to keep moving it. to get it where you like it. Fill that area up. Adding some artificial breaks in the paint. Always alright, so I think these two are done, so let me show you a close-up of each. Alright. Now, let me take my mask off so you can hear me clearly.
Okay, so let's look at each of these in perspective. Let's see, I have a... okay. Yeah, let's look at these and see what you think. So here's the first one. This is the textured surface. You can kind of see how the light is bouncing off the chrome. I don't know if you can see that really clearly, but there is some awesome detail here. These are smaller pieces, obviously. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with these yet. I may mount them to put them in a frame. I don't know, we'll see. So this is the chrome version, the liquid chrome with Molotov with the Gumball alcohol ink, the Antwerp blue, and the Pinata Blanco white, and a whole bunch of blending solution, as you saw. And then here's the next one. This one uses gold, and it's not completely dry, but let's look at it here. You can see where the gold is. And the idea was for it to just kind of be displayed this way. This is how I painted it. You can kind of see. Now, where the blending solution is, now I mentioned this before, where the blending solution lies, it is a little glossier than the rest of the surface. You can kind of see it. See how it's glossy where the ink and the blending solution lie? And I don't know if it's because what I mentioned earlier, the fact that it feels oilier, and that's what allows it to break up the ink. But there's some really pretty stuff happening. I don't know if you can see all that, but it is nice. I like how this Nara paper allows me to lift it. This Nara vinyl or Nara card feature. So hope you enjoy it. So I hope you enjoyed this. Be sure to hit that little red subscription button. Be sure to subscribe. I'll have a link in the bottom of my description for how to get this with a link with the percentage off, with a coupon code or whatever. If you're interested in trying this material, it really helped me out. It's just a referral. And I also have an Amazon link in my description. It'll have a link to all of the supplies that you see here that I use. And I really appreciate everyone who watches, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks again. Bye.